Namaskar. My name is Guru Prasad Vadraj, or call us Guru Vadraj too. So I'm just starting on this very auspicious day of Dwadashi about some sort of an astrology where it can benefit the people. So I'm not looking into commercial side. It's only to help the people and understand, make them understand in depth about the need and to know more about astrology and how it somewhere correlates with our philosophy also. So, some of the topics that I would basically cover involves some sort of a rebirth and what is the significance of few planets and how certain planets behave or influences your behavior, or how this can be controlled. Okay, so before starting this, I just want to thank my Guruji, which is Tapo Viratya Viratya Gno Kagaranaham Vadraja Gurun Mande Hegriva Deshriyan. And he is my Guru, and he educated me in all the aspects of my life. And below that you can see Ananta Padmanabha Swami Trivandrum, who is a great influencer in my life. So let me start. No, people always understand or misunderstand about astrology. Okay, so typically in Sanskrit it is called Jyotish or light, or which provides light to your darkness. Okay, where there is darkness, you might be what I can probably in your life you might have got somewhere lost about looking for an solutions, or you are completely blacked out. Then this Jyotish comes into picture. Okay, so now it has become more commercial, but typically that should not be the case. So I will not be able to comment on other astrologers. So, let me just start. Okay, now you have 12 rashis. Okay, now the reason why this 12 rashis has been done, why not 16 rashis, or not why not 18 rashis? Okay, so again in this auspicious moment I can see Ram Puja going on. Okay, so why not 12 rushes, or why not 16 rushes, or why not 18 rushes? Why they fixed it with 12? Okay, so there are many reasons to it. Okay, there are 12 adityas who each corresponds to your 12 rashes. Okay, so since there are 12 adityas, you have 12 rashes. That is one aspect. Then you have Dwadasha mantra, which is basically Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which again converts into your 12 words or 12 letters. Okay, so actually each letter corresponds to one of the rashis. Why this Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? Because this is the one which is going to give you a moksha, or take you to the path of your moksha. This one of the major reasons, you have this 12. And 12 is always represented in terms of your moksha. Okay, and if you look at very carefully, in astrology we have called the concept of ucha rashi and nicha rashi. That means a planet which behaves with the maximum power, okay, or with the lowest power. Nicha means lowest power, and ucha means with the highest power. Okay, so if you took very look carefully, right, Ketu is the co-owner of Meena Rashi. Okay, and Ketu is the moksha karaka. So that is, it is exactly at the 12th. Okay, so 12th plays a very important role, and it basically gives you how you need to the path for your liberation. Okay, so the second part which I wanted to tell you is why the Ketu is basically called as moksha karaka, or why not Rahu. You observe very carefully. Okay, the all your senses, which means like a nose, ears, tongue, everything is in the your basically your top portion of the body, or these are the sensual what I can say organs which is located at the top of your body, and your desires originates from this. Okay, so what happens is, now when you want to attain a moksha, okay, you don't need to have desires, or you should not have any desires or pleasure seekings. Okay, so that's the reason he the ketu does not have a head. There's a reason for everything. Okay, so that's the reason ketu does not have a head. Whereas you take the rahu basically gives you a lot of what I can say. He loves to have a pleasure life. Okay, and interestingly, he owns the our Swayam Kshetra is Kanya Rashi. Okay, and Kanya Rashi is basically your owned and exalted by none other than Mercury. Okay, there is a very interesting aspect to it. I'll tell you how Rahu and is closely related to Vishnu also. Now, if you take this Swayamvara, right, the during that Amrita Vardhan, and when the Mohini comes out, it was basically your the Rahu who basically identifies. Actually, his name is something different. So I just for generic purpose, I'll just keep it as a Rahu. Okay. So he is the one who first identifies that the it is the Surya and Chandra who informed Mohini that he is a Rakshasa in the form of a Deva. So then Vishnu has to cut off his neck, okay, separating his body and the head. So the body becomes your ketu and head becomes your rahu. So all the pleasures basically is your rahu, and the ketu is basically moksha karaka. Now, coming to this point of how it is also related to your Vishnu, right? He is also a Swayam Kshetra in terms of your Kanya Rashi, and in the same Kanya Rashi you have Mercury or Buddha Graha as your exalted Rashi for him, as well as Swayam Ucha Nakshatra for him. Okay, that means exalted or Ucha is one of the same. So essentially, it's Swayam Kshetra for him and exalted Rashi for him. Okay, Kanya Rashi for Mercury. So that's the reason you have a very very closely related with your Rahu and Mercury. Okay, so uh, the fundamental point of, again, I'm just sticking to Rahu and Ketu as this point of time. Does Rahu and Ketu, okay, coming back to the other point which I wanted to discuss is basically about the Rashis. Okay, if you take the Rashis, right, your fourth house, that is basically your Karaka Rashi, then the seventh house which is called as Tula Rashi, and the 12th house which is called as Meena Rashi. So it is closely associated with your fourth house is Gauri, which is called as Mother, and the seventh house which is Tula Rashi, which is basically Lakshmi, and 12th house which is called as Meena Rashi is basically your Saraswati. Okay, so this point which you need to clearly understand that. Now, I just gave a overview of how Rahu and Ketu is basically having a head and the uh, body. Okay, and the other point which I mentioned is about 12 Adityas and 12 Rashis and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so all this basically I just gave an insight to it, and each uh, if you go in depth of the astrology, right, they say that in each month you need to basically pray to that particular Adityas. Okay, so but since it becomes of a too much of a subject at this point of time, I just hold at this. There's another interesting aspect about your astrology. So if astrology has been such that our destiny is already decided, So there's no point in looking into astrology, but it's not the case. So what happens is that astrology is best going to give you a solution to your problems. But does it give solution to all your problems? It depends upon your karma, what you have gained. Okay. So basically Ketu represents the karma that you are going to get in this current life. Okay. So what are the karmas that you got it? Okay. There are some karmas where you unintentionally or you are forced to do something bad things. Okay, so those are the karmas where you have the uh, option of negating it by doing certain pariharas. Okay, but there are certain karmas, there are no remedies at all. Say for example, I have killed four people. Do you think in the next birth I just do some parihara, will it get solved? No, it is not going to happen. Okay, so and again, in the when you are doing parihara also, right, it's important to understand what is the karma you did and why you are doing this parihara, rather than just astrologer telling this, you have to do this parihara, doing that. Okay, so any solutions needs to be understood by understanding the root cause of your problem. Okay, without understanding the root cause, you will be just, every 6 months you will be doing some parihara and other things which mere like a temporary. Okay, and for you to understand or for whether you are going in the right direction, it is very important that each one of you pray in the morning and the evening. Okay, so your meditation and your japam will give you a additional source of strength to your pariharas. Okay, so I'll just stop at this point of time. This is my first video. uh, Feel free to give me feedbacks and comments. Let me see how this is going forward. So just take this my first video. Okay, looking for your continued support. Thanks. And probably in in 2 days time or in a week's time or next week's time, I'll come back with more each of the rashis and what role they are playing it. Okay, I'll talk about your tattvas, why different tattvas are there and how it is getting aligned. Okay, why not in a different orders, and why there is no akasha tattva in your astrology. Okay, I'll just briefly explain about all those things. Okay, thanks. Namaskaram.